She posted, "Finally free, with divorce papers." I commented, "Me too." Then I posted the DNA test showing her son wasn't mine. 7 years of child support got very complicated. I, 36 male, have been legally divorced for 4 hours and 46 minutes. I know the exact time because I've been staring at the digital clock on my cable box, watching the numbers change, feeling absolutely nothing. For the last year, I've been told this day would be a relief. A new beginning. It just feels quiet. My ex-wife, Qley, 35, and I were married for 9 years. We have, or I thought we had, a son, Finn, who is 7. The divorce was her idea. She hit me with the classics. She felt stifled. She'd lost herself in being a wife and mother, and she needed to go on a journey of self-discovery. I didn't fight it. The last few years had been a slow emotional drain. I'm a middle school history teacher. My life is structured, predictable. Qley always craved chaos. We agreed to what I thought was an amicable split. She got the house, I couldn't afford to buy her out, and I moved into a small, 2-bedroom apartment. We agreed on 50-50 custody of Finn. The court ordered me to pay $1,200 a month in child support, calculated based on our respective incomes. It's a massive chunk of my teacher's salary. But I never questioned it. He's my son. The quiet ticking of my new life was interrupted an hour ago by a notification on my phone. Qley had posted a picture on her social media. It was a professionally shot photo of her, laughing, signing the final divorce decree with a fancy pen in one hand and a glass of champagne in the other. The caption read, "Finally free to live my authentic life. Here's to leaving the past behind and embracing a future with no regrets. So unburdened. Divorced, new beginnings, freedom." My first reaction was a dull ache. Unburdened. Was that what I was? A burden? But then I took a deep breath. I didn't get angry. I didn't feel sad. I just felt clarity. Because I've been holding a secret for the last 2 months. A secret I was waiting for the right moment to share. Qley, in her infinite self-absorption, had just handed me that moment on a silver platter. The seed of doubt was planted during a deposition 6 months ago. Her lawyer was making a case for a higher child support payment, citing Finn's future medical needs. Finn was diagnosed a couple of years ago with a specific rare type of deuteranopia, a form of red-green color blindness. It's a genetic condition. Her lawyer presented it as a lifelong disability that would require special accommodations. Later that night, I did what any history teacher would do. I researched. I went down a rabbit hole of genetics and X-linked recessive traits. And what I found was that for this specific type of color blindness, it was genetically impossible for me to be his father. A daughter could inherit it from me and be a carrier, but a son gets his X chromosome from his mother. For Finn to have it, Qley would have to be a carrier, and his biological father would have to have it. But the key fact, the one that made my blood turn to ice, was a simple Punnett square. My own color vision is perfect. I have no markers for it in my family history. Given Qley's genetic status, there was a near zero probability. I didn't say anything. I just went very, very quiet. The next week, citing the need for more genetic testing for Finn's condition, I got a court order for a comprehensive DNA panel for all 3 of us. My lawyer framed it as a standard part of due diligence for his medical file. Qley signed off on it without a second thought, probably thinking it would help her case for more money. The results came back 2 months ago. A crisp, clinical, 99.999% probability that I was excluded as Finn's biological father. I've been sitting on that document ever since. I let the divorce finalize. I agreed to the child support. I signed every paper. I played the part of the sad, compliant, soon-to-be ex-husband. I was waiting for her to show her true colors, to gloat. I knew she would. And tonight, she did. So I opened my laptop. I went to her triumphant post. Underneath a sea of "Yas, Queen," and "So happy for you" comments, I wrote a very simple reply, "Me too." Then I went to my own social media page. I took a clear, high-resolution photo of the DNA test results, with the probability of paternity 0% line perfectly centered. I posted it, and I tagged her. My caption was simple: "Congratulations on your new beginning, Qley. Here's to mine. After $108 and 7 years of misplaced trust, I'm finally unburdened too. Divorce, truth, paternity fraud." My phone has not stopped buzzing since. Update 1. The fallout was faster and more explosive than I could have ever imagined. It took Qley about 15 minutes to see my post. Her own finally free post was deleted within seconds, but the internet is forever. Screenshots were already circulating among our stunned mutual friends. Then, her entire social media presence vanished. The first text came at 10:17 p.m. It was just a string of question marks. The next one, a minute later, was less coherent. Take it down now. Then the phone calls started. I didn't answer. She left 19 voicemails. They were a fascinating study in narcissistic rage. Voicemails 1 to 5, screaming. Incoherent shrieking about how I was a monster, how could I do this, etc. Voicemail 6-12, threats. She was going to sue me for defamation, for harassment, for traumatizing a child. She was going to ruin my career and tell everyone at my school I was an unstable lunatic. Voicemails 13-19, weeping. Pathetic, sobbing pleas about how I was destroying her life, how she was the victim, how I had no idea what she'd been through. Not once, in any of those messages, did she deny it. She wasn't angry that I knew the truth. She was angry that I had told it. The next morning, her parents called. Her father, an arrogant man who always looked at me like I was something he'd scraped off his shoe, did the talking. "Noah," he said, his voice dangerously calm, "you've made your little point. Now, you're going to take that disgusting post down and you're going to issue a public apology to Qley and Finn for this vicious, uncalled-for attack." I was quiet for a moment. Then I said, "Uncalled for? Finn is your son in every way that matters," her mother chirped in on the extension. "You raised him. A piece of paper doesn't change that. What you've done is cruel to him and to our daughter." "What your daughter has done," I replied, my voice as flat as a textbook page, "is commit fraud. For 7 years, the piece of paper is evidence of a crime. The child support I paid, the medical bills, the emotional investment, it was all based on a lie. My post isn't an attack. It's a correction to the public record." "You're going to regret this," her father growled and hung up. My lawyer, a wonderfully pragmatic and shark-like woman named Miss Albright, was not surprised. "Let them posture," she said over the phone. "They have no legal standing. You posted a factual, court-admissible document." She had already, at my instruction the day after the divorce, filed the necessary paperwork. First, an emergency motion to immediately suspend my child support obligations pending a hearing. Second, a petition to disestablish paternity, legally removing me as Finn's father. And third, the big one, a civil lawsuit against Qley for paternity fraud, seeking recoupment of every single dime I paid. The total comes to $100,800 in child support, plus another $15,000 for medical and educational expenses I covered. We are also suing for legal fees and punitive damages. I haven't seen Finn. The custody agreement is void now. I feel a deep, wrenching pain when I think of him. He is the innocent victim in all of this. I look at pictures of us, at the science fair, at his first baseball game, and the man in those photos is a stranger to me. A well-meaning fool who was living in a fictional story. This isn't about him. I have to keep telling myself that. This is about Qley's lie, and I'm not paying for it anymore. Not financially, not emotionally, not for one more day. Update 2. The legal wheels grind slowly, but they grind fine. The last few months have been a masterclass in my ex-wife's sense of entitlement and her complete detachment from reality. Our first court appearance was for the emergency motion to suspend child support. Qley showed up with a new, expensive-looking lawyer. Her defense strategy was, frankly, audacious. They argued for paternity by estoppel. It's a legal doctrine that basically says if you present yourself as a child's father for a significant period, you are then estopped or prevented from denying paternity later. Essentially, you acted like his dad, so you have to keep paying, regardless of biology. Her lawyer painted a picture of me as a cruel man who was abandoning his son over a biological technicality. When it was Ms. Albright's turn, she was surgical. "Your Honor," she said, "the doctrine of paternity by estoppel is intended to protect a child from the sudden whims of an ambivalent father. It is not, and has never been, a shield for paternal fraud. My client did not know, nor could he have reasonably known, that he was not the child's father. Miss Miller actively and maliciously concealed this fact for nearly a decade. This isn't a case of estoppel, it's a case of theft by deception, plain and simple." The judge, a stern-faced man who looked like he'd heard every excuse in the book, agreed. He granted my motion. My child support payments are suspended until the final judgment. I watched Qley's face crumple. It wasn't sadness. It was the indignant rage of someone who has just had their credit card declined. The next step was a court-ordered deposition. Just Ms. Albright, myself, Qley, and her lawyer in a conference room. For 6 hours, my lawyer had her recount the timeline of her relationship with me and, crucially, her relationship with another man just before we got married. Under oath, Qley was forced to admit that she had slept with a man named Damon a few weeks before our wedding. She admitted she knew there was a possibility he was the father. She admitted she never told me. Her justification was breathtaking. I did it for Finn, she said, her voice dripping with self-pity. Damon was a bartender with no ambition. I wanted my son to have a stable father, a good man. I chose you, Noah. It was a gift. Ms. Albright just stared at her. So you admit you intentionally defrauded my client for 7 years in what you are now framing as an act of maternal sacrifice? I'm a good mother. Qley snapped back, her composure cracking. I did what I had to do. The court has since compelled Qley to provide Damon's last known contact information. He has been served with a summons and a motion to compel a DNA test. From what I hear, he is not pleased. Qley's life is unraveling. Without my $1,200 a month, she can't afford the mortgage on the house. She's been sending me rage-filled emails, not about the paternity, but about the money. You're gonna make us homeless, one of them read. Finn needs his home. You owe him that much. The entitlement is a bottomless pit. She genuinely believes that she is the victim and that I owe her a comfortable life, even after all of this. It's hard. I see Finn's school picture on my fridge and I feel a pang of something I can't name. It's grief, I think, for a son I never really had. But then I read one of Qley's emails and the grief turns to cold, hard resolve. I will not be the foundation for her house of lies anymore. Final update. It's over. The final judgment came down last week. It has been a long, ugly, and expensive year, but the end result is a quiet, profound vindication. Damon, the biological father, fought the paternity test. He lawyered up and tried to claim he couldn't be the father, but the timeline was undeniable and the court-ordered test confirmed it. He is Finn's father. A new child support order has been established against him. Qley is now getting about $450 a month from a man who actively resents both her and the child. A man she herself described as having no ambition. Her gift to her son was a bitter legacy. The main event was my civil suit against Qley for fraud. Her paternity by estoppel defense was laughed out of court. The judge, in his final ruling, was absolutely brutal. He called her actions a calculated and reprehensible scheme of deceit, and a profound betrayal of both marital and parental trust. Here's the final judgment. I, Noah Galloway, am legally and permanently disestablished as the father of Finn Miller. My name has been removed from his birth certificate. A judgment has been entered against Qley Miller in my favor for the full amount of child support paid, $100,800. She has also been ordered to reimburse me for all documented medical, dental, and educational expenses, which totaled $17,450. Finally, she was ordered to pay all of my legal fees, which came to just over $32,000. The total judgment against her is for $150,250. She declared bankruptcy, of course. But this type of debt, one incurred through deliberate fraud, is not dischargeable in bankruptcy. She cannot escape it. A lien has been placed on the house, which she was already in the process of losing to foreclosure. My lawyer has begun the process of garnishing her wages at the boutique she now works at. I will get my money back. It will be slow, maybe a few $100s a month for the rest of her working life, but she will pay. The social fallout for her was absolute. Our old friend group, horrified by the long-term deception, sided with me unanimously. Her parents, facing the reality of their daughter's financial ruin and public disgrace, have reportedly stopped taking her calls. She got her freedom, and it's a lonely, impoverished place. As for me and Finn, that's the complicated part. I haven't seen him since the first court date. According to the court-appointed therapist, he is confused and angry, and Qley has been telling him that I abandoned him because he wasn't good enough. It's one last cruel twist of the knife. I won. I got justice. I have my financial freedom back, but it's a hollow victory. I lost a son, He was never mine to begin with, but my heart doesn't quite understand that. Last week, Ms. Albright helped me set something up. A portion of the garnished wages I receive from Qley each month is being diverted into a trust. It's an anonymous educational trust, set to be paid out to Finn when he turns 18. He will never know it came from me. It's not child support. It's not an obligation. It's an epilogue. A quiet acknowledgement of the 7 years that were real to me and real to him, even if they were built on a lie. I am free. I am unburdened, but it cost me something I can never get back.